Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So I kind of like allowed myself to fix it before we move on forward because it's not like we plan to be here live today anyway. So this was kind of like impromptu meeting. So let's have a good time. Let's have a good time. Today we're talking about, do you need a license to wholesale real estate? By the way, there are good chances that I have videos on that topic here already on this channel. So let's when you're done with this session, feel free to go search, do you need a license to wholesale real estate? All our talks Abitogun probably will pop up. All right. Now, with that being said, I got some fun stuff I want to share with you, and we're gonna make it tasty. Get through it. I got a Q&A. We got about 5 different things on the agenda I want to cover here today. So sorry if you came here earlier, you just saw me. I'm not talking, and you felt like, hey, and you just left. Sorry about that. But for the most part, you can come back here and watch the rebroadcast later. That's the kind of channel we are anyway. All right. So with that being said, do you need a license to wholesale real estate? The answer is obviously no, right? Maybe not that obvious, but the answer is no. Uh, a license is required for you to represent interests of other people. So if there's a buyer and there's a seller and is someone outside of yourself, and you have to represent their interest or claim to represent their interest. For most of the 50 states in the United States, you will need to be licensed to be able to do that, to claim to someone that you're going to represent their interest, help them negotiate, help them get a deal done, help them put the paperwork together, protect their interests, get them the right professionals and stuff like that. You will need to be licensed in order to claim that you're protecting their interest. All right. So now, what you're doing when you're wholesaling real estate is not representing anyone's interest. You're, in fact, representing interest for profit only. Okay. So you go to a property, you take an interest on the property because you can add a value onto it, you can add some kind of value onto it, and then you decide based on that to to put it under contract to purchase it with the intentions of purchasing it, or selling the contract to other people that will actually execute on the contract. In that case, you sell that contract for a fee. The homeowner get what they want, basically whatever it is that you agree to with them, they get whatever it is that they agree to with you, right? And then you get what you want, which is making a quick profit, selling the contract that you sign with the homeowner to somebody else, so they can you sell the rights to the contract to somebody else. Okay, so that's the difference right there. Okay, so when you wholesale, you're representing your own interests for profit, purely for profit. That's all you're doing. Okay, but when you are brokering a deal, brokering meaning you are representing a seller or a buyer, you're being the middleman officially. Um, if you claim to be representing their interest, then you have to basically you have to get a license. Okay, the state requires you to have a license for that. So the answer to that question is no. Here's another thing that I want to, either you're a broker or a wholesaler, it really doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're a broker or a wholesaler. At the end of the day, what drives your business is marketing. And that's really my job here, to drive that home as much as possible, that you need to be marketing, and you need to market in a profitable manner. In other words, you need to market in a way that you don't lose money. Okay. And sometimes that takes you having to hack. You have to hack the traditional system. Traditional system is you take a boatloads of money, you go to a marketing agency, and you buy a bunch of billboards around town. So if you're in New Jersey, there's a good chance that uh, you've seen one of those signs with buy houses, who buy ugly houses, all over the transit buses, on the billboard signs. You go to an agency, you can buy radio ads and stuff like that. That's traditionally, right? So you have to have that money. Now today, you still have to have that money. You just don't have to have the money up front. Okay. But there are ways that you can become a market leader in this space, share some information, make some money so you can have enough money so you can market. Okay. What I'm going to tell you right now, the idea of being just straight up broke and you want to use free strategies to build a business, you're increasing your chances that you're going to fail. There's a very high chance you're going to fail, get frustrated out of the business, and that's not what we want, right? Good. So I just wanted to make sure I point that out. So, do you need a license? No, you don't need a license. All right. So, with that being said, what I usually like to do is I like to do some real life analysis here. I have a lead that came in here. Uh, Ideally, you want to have a ton of leads coming into your pipeline on a daily basis. That's how to build this business. You want to have options, okay? Because if you don't have options, you'll be at the mercy of any one option that you get stuck on, okay? So you want to have leads. What that means is that you have people that are actually interested in selling a home, calling you, leaving messages for you, leaving text messages for you, and that's where you want to be. All right. So I got this property that came in earlier today, and I figure we should do it together. Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna talk about I'm not gonna pronounce the address out. What I'm gonna do is just go ahead and just pull up the house here on the, let's see if we can, okay, there you go. I found the house. All right. So the first instant value that pops up in my face says $549,000. So I want you to take a mental note of that as we go through it. Okay. My brother, my business partner, already pulled up some numbers already. Looks like ARV may be around 620. Let's see how close to my number his number is. Okay. So I'm gonna dig in a little deeper. What that means is that I'm going to take a closer look at the comparable sales in the area. We call them comps. Okay. So the way you evaluate the value of a property, okay, in order for you to buy a property to flip, you need to know what it's worth after it's repaired in today's market. Okay. So, in other words, you can't really put an offer on a house or a property without knowing what it's worth. The idea is you want to buy low and sell high. When we say buy low, we're talking about with respect to what is worth in today's market. You want to buy lower than that, so you can sell at or maybe potentially more than what is worth today. But we don't want to worry about more than what is worth today, because that will be following the line of speculation. For a wholesaler, you don't need to worry about speculation. If you make more money than what you think it was worth today, it's just additional bonus. But you want to evaluate the property based on today's market. And as a buyer, being a person on the buyer side, doing what I'm doing right now, basically evaluating the property and getting ready to put an offer on the property. Okay. You want to make sure that you're being conservative. Okay. And when I say conservative, not overly conservative, just make sure that you're factoring the numbers of sales and the actual amount of the sales in the past 6 months within 1 mile radius of the property. All right. So what I do, so 6 months, within 6 months. So the first thing I do is I pull up comparables. I'm doing that right now. If you can't see my screen, we have training on the back end on exactly how I do that. I cannot share my screen on the public because my tools can change from time to time depending on what's going on in the market. So I don't want to have to answer to people that may say, hey, this is not what you said on a video. The video could be 2 years old. For example, this book, we now have it available. You can download it. Okay, but you can also download it with my new book. I don't have it. I run out. I sold them out. My new book is called Real Estate Money Secrets. Okay, with this together for $5.46, you can download it. You can get the audio book if you get an Audible trial. The way you access this, just go to smartrealestatewholesaling.com. So some people will try to harass me sometimes. They'll say, hey, you said it was free. There was once upon a time I gave them out for free. Yes, it was a limited time offer, the PDF, but that's no more the case. Okay, right now you have to pay $5.46 for the book, but it comes with the second bonus book, which is Real Estate Money Secrets. So if you want that, just simply go to smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Okay, so I was saying that the tools that I use can change. So you may be watching this video, but so I want to keep the language in this video evergreen. So I don't want to talk about the actual tools that I use because that can change. But the concept doesn't change. 6 months worth of real estate sales data. If there are no sales data, that means you should run away from the market. That means there's nothing happening. It's crickets in that market, right? So you want to see at least about 20 different comparables sold in that area in the last 6 months. Okay, but now Once I have that data, so property sold in the last 6 months within 1 mile radius. Okay. So the couple of things that I do, I sort the list by price by square footage. Okay. So I go with the highest first. It tells me what the highest potential based on the price per square footage in the area is. Okay. So, and I pick the top five. Okay. And that's already telling me that this property is average sold in the area is $416,000. However, it's a bigger house. It's a 2,800 square footage. So it adjusted the number to $640,000. That's after repair value. The real number is somewhere in between 416 and 640. So I'm not just gonna run with 640 and say it's worth 640. It probably will be a tough one to sell a bigger house where most of the houses are smaller. Can I get a little bit more? Yes, but maybe not $200,000 more. Okay. So then the next thing I do is I also sort it by the closest house to it, and I pick the top five again, and together with the other ones. So basically, I have about 8 different houses. That adjusted the number to average sold in the area 404, after repair value 606. So I can safely say this property is worth $400,000, maybe $600,000. Okay, maybe. Okay, so the house needs some work. Okay, it needs about 35,000, $30,000 based on what the homeowner told me earlier today. And so I'm gonna go under my offer section, and I'm actually gonna put, right now it's saying ARV is $606,000. I'm not going to run with that. So I'm just gonna simply adjust that number to $500,000. There are, then potentially we can get this sold. So I do see a $550,000 right next door sold. Right next door, the next house, like almost in front of it. The number of the subject's property is 5. The house in front of it is 6. So 6 actually sold literally a few days ago at 550. Okay. So we have some sold at 445, 355, 355, 380, 452. 350, 325, 407. Okay. So we do see some actions going on in that area. Okay. Sorry if you do hear some noise. There's the AC in front of me. All right. So let me actually take a look at what county this house is in. Okay. This is Morris County. It's hot, high end county over there. All right. So let's take a closer look here. Okay. So the house will probably safely sell for 500. Okay. After repair. Okay, after repair. So now I'm gonna go to the offer section. $500,000. That's my opinion. It's a professional opinion based on the numbers I'm looking at. Repair estimate, we're looking at, I'm gonna say safely $50,000 based on what the homeowner told me. The house is gonna need some upgrade. Okay. I put in a retail gross profit of about 30%. Okay, so I can't pay more than 70% of what I think it's worth. Okay, so $500,000, $150,000 off the table right away. We would like to make somewhere around on this deal somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 as wholesaling fees. Could it be less? Yes. Could it be more? Yes. Okay. So based on that number, we can offer $250,000 safely on the house. Okay, based on that number. But let me take a look at, and I'm going to make that offer in front of you. So hang out with me. I'm going to make that call and put that offer in right now, and see what he has to say. Okay. Generally, also, sometimes you can prepare multiple offers for people. Okay. So if they're not interested in speed and convenience, or they may say, hey, no, I think I can get a little bit more for the house. We'll see. Something I forgot to do earlier is I forgot to ask him what he wants for the property to have a good gauge of his motivation. But I do know that the property is vacant, and they would like to sell. But like to sell doesn't mean motivated. Okay. But that will be my first question for him once I get him on. If I can get him on the phone right now, that will be my first question for him. So let me go see if I can see a good clear picture of what we're dealing with here. All right. So this is a property we can easily make 50, 100,000, $40,000, 60,000, depends on how sweet the deal is. But I need to make sure that their mind is around $250,000. Property is worth $500,000 safely. All right. So I'm just looking for some picture now. All right. And it's a 5 bedroom, 4 bathrooms. Actually 3.5 because I spoke to him earlier. It's a 3.5. Zestimate is 501. So I am pretty close to what Zestimate thinks the property is worth. Uh, Let me see. I'm just trying to see if I can find a picture of this house. Okay, so I don't see much. I'm checking realtor.com. I'm checking trulia.com. I haven't visited the property, so I try to get away with not visiting the property before we put it under contract. Okay, so it's a secluded area. It looks like it's a secluded high-end property neighborhood. So that's why we don't see much picture anywhere. So probably the only way I can see a picture here is to go check the MLS. But I'm not going to worry about that. So we're going to give him a call. Okay. We're going to give him a call and then see where his mind is when it comes to this property. All right. So whatever happens, happens. We'll find out in a second. So that was my fourth agenda or third or something like that for today. We evaluated the property. You saw you listened to my thought process as I was evaluating the property. I pulled up comparables, higher square price per square footage in the area, just to make sure I measure for the highest potential. The closest home to it, the closest five, we came up with average of about $400,000 selling in the area, but the house is a little bit bigger. The house right next in front of it sold for $550,000. Basically, I adjusted to be somewhere in between $400,000 and $600,000 based on price per square footage. The ARV calculated for me automatically is based on price per square footage, but I stayed in between that. So I came up with $500,000. 30% of that is $150,000, so that's 450 off the top. Okay, 150 off the top of $500,000. Um, yeah, let me just make sure that I said that right. Let's make sure we say that right. Okay, so 150 off the top. We would like to make about $50,000 off of that. That's about that's additional $50,000. That's $200,000. It needs $50,000 worth of work. So that's $250,000 off. So we came up with the offer of 250. So I don't know what he's gonna say. Let's talk to him. I'm looking for his phone number right now. I think I have it. And 1 second. So let's see if we can catch this gentleman on the phone. Hopefully, yes, we can. Oh, he didn't pick up. All right. So he did not pick up. Let me try it one more time. Okay. So if we can get him on the phone, you can hear the conversation. That would be a plus for this video. But if not, that's okay. You know, we'll come back later. Ju- Hey, Bob, this is Ola again. How are you?
Yeah, all right, yourself?
Very good. Did I catch you at a good time?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Very good. Very good. Quick question for you. What do you want? Where's your mind? What do you want for the property?
Uh, Offhand, I don't know. We haven't talked a lot about it. We're just waiting for some offers.
Oh, okay. So you want to take your time and entertain some offers?
Pardon?
You said you wanted to take your time and entertain some offers, you said? Okay. Um, I was wondering if we do the, this is just one of my different types of offers, but this is the one that gives you speed and convenience. We can close in 7 to 10 days. Okay. I was
Uh,
wondering if you would entertain $240,000.
oh my God, this
Was that all
way,
cash?
way, way low.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's way low.
Oh, it's too low. Okay.
Uh,
So help me come up. What do you? Well, how much would I need to come up if you would be willing to do like a quick cash, quick sale, no contingencies?
650,000.
Oh, 650. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're looking at the retail price. We're looking at the retail price. I do see that your house is the biggest around the block. I do notice
Uh-huh.
that, but I should know real estate is all about location, right? So,
Oh yeah, it's in a good location. We're right across from
right.
Green Acres and Walden Estate. It's in
Mm-hmm.
an area that's really the main roads and that,
Mm-hmm.
and not too far from shopping. It's convenient for that, and
Right.
so location is great.
All right. So let's talk about the other options we have here. Because you have time and you're not in a rush, right?
Right.
We can expose your property to the market properly, right?
Uh-huh.
And try to get the highest and best offer for it. Okay. You did mention that it needed some work. Okay.
Yeah.
I look at the comparables in the area of properties sold in the last 6 months. Okay. We're averaging, if it's all fixed up and ready to go, we're averaging around $605,000
Uh-huh.
based on size. So that's if we're lucky enough to find somebody to fall in love with the idea of its size, regardless, meaning disregard the location, right? Because the
Right.
average sold in the location is showing average 400,000 because the other houses are smaller, basically. Okay.
Well, some of the houses are the original ones and have never been updated in any way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why you see that 450.
No, no, no. Oh, you mean the other house? No, I'm talking about a ton of other houses. Like I don't use one house. I'm talking about a bunch of houses in that area. We have I didn't even mention that to you. We have like Island Avenue, 248 Island Avenue. It's for 355, 19 Henry Street around the corner, 355. But
Yeah.
with that being said, number 6, Harcourt Way, right? 550. That's the one right in front of it, right?
Right.
So I'm looking at everything. Okay. Now, if the house is put in a good shape and allowed to have the proper exposure for of the market for 60 to 100 days, we will find out if somebody is willing to pay the top dollar, which is about 600 and change for it, right? So,
Well, if it's fixed up,
mhm.
I can tell you right now, I'll probably go for probably around 750.
The highest I see in the last 6 months is actually on Six Shepherd Lane. Do you know Six Shepherd Lane? Are you familiar with that?
Not really.
Six Shepherd Lane is around the corner. It sold for 707. That's the highest, and it
Okay.
was back in November. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So now, like I was saying, we're just numbers, okay? And I know
Yeah.
it's your house. I want to get you the highest and best, okay? So, if that's the highest, right? If we average stuff out, our best case scenario based on numbers right now is 707, maybe more, but that would be basically speculating. There's nothing wrong with speculating if we got time, you know.
Right.
So that's just what we're playing with. What I can do is I can have my agent, he will call you. He will do a proper evaluation of the market for it. Okay, he will take his time on it. His job, remember, he gets paid by commission. Okay, his job is to get you highest and best offer on it because the more he gets, the more money he makes. Okay.
Right.
All right. So we can do that. And he will give you 3 different options too. There's also a way you can give it all the exposure it needs for just like $500. I think 390, something like that. They also have another program like that where you pay one flat fee and it's listed everywhere for everyone to see, including all the realtors. Okay,
Yeah.
but there won't be any staging. There won't be any of the fancy stuff like showing any of those craziness. Basically, these days potentially you can sell like that because everyone is going on the internet to search anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I will have him call you. He will probably present two other options for you, but these three options will be more in the direction of what you're looking at, which is retail price, highest and best offer. Okay. So is that fair? Should I forward it to him to give you a call?
Let me talk to my wife first, and then I will get back to you.
Okay, save my number. My
All
name
right.
is Ola. We can work something out definitely. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, good.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye. All right. So there you have it. Keep in mind, all you want to do is focus on what people want. If they're not motivated, they're not motivated. That doesn't mean they will not be motivated in the future. Okay. What I'm going to do is save this information in my CRM, set up a follow up for 3 months. We'll follow up with him again in the future. What are the chances he's going to call me back? Close to none. Is it possible for him to call me back? Yes, it's very possible for him to call me back. But I don't dwell on that. I have my pipeline full of leads. So we got to move on to the next person and then let him figure out if he wants to call me back. In 3 months' time, I'll get a reminder to give him a call. I have notes all taken and everything in my system, and then we'll take the conversation from there. For a fact, the house is sitting down vacant right now. So that means he's taking money out of his pocket because he has to pay taxes all that time, right? He moved out of the house. They don't really want the house anymore. It's high end people. They probably not stressing for too much money unless they go almost broke. So you can't stress them. You can't afford to stress them either. You got to keep it moving. All right. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you today. The last thing I want to share with you really quickly before I hang up this phone. It's a cute question that came in. It's like person says the seller said, I don't want to sell my house. How did you get my number? What's the proper response for that? The proper response always is to focus on what the person wants. Okay, as long as it's still in line with what you want. Okay, so I always tell people I focus on what you want, and then I'll see where I fit. If I don't fit, I exit. I'll keep it moving. I'll follow up again in the future. And I'm able to do that because I know how to generate leads. I know how to market and fill my pipeline with leads. And that's without me having to leave my house, okay, or leave the studio right here, okay. And it's extremely cheap to do that this time and age. When I say cheap, I mean relatively. If you're completely broke, then you need to learn how to come up with money so you can market like the pros, so you can market like the gurus, You can market at that level. If you're not marketing at that level, your chances that you will quit on yourself prematurely without even knowing it skyrockets heavily. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. All right. So that's something to pay attention to. All right. So how would I answer that? I don't want to sell my house. How did you get my number? In the first place, a person who will say that will not be on the phone with me. Okay. They can't be on the phone with me. That's just the first thing I want to tell you. Okay. But let's say by mistake, suddenly by mistake, something happens. They fell through the crack. I called them by mistake. I didn't realize that they're not serious. They didn't leave a property address. So for example, when I call this person left me a message for me first, and then I call them back. Okay, so the conversation is a lot more. It's that much smoother because they called me first. Okay, now if I call them first, I pre-qualify them with three simple questions. I check if that's their name. I check if they own the property, and I check if they're open to selling. If all three of those answers are not yes, I don't continue the conversation. So if somebody goes and say I don't want to sell my house, I probably wouldn't be on the phone with them in the first place. But again, like I said, if by mistake, for some weird reason, I ended up on the phone with them, then it's all good. Then I'll be like, no, I don't want to sell my house. I'm like, have a good day. That's what I'll say. I'll just say, have a good day. Now, if I'm in a good mood, which for the most part, when I'm calling these people, I'm always in a good mood, I may ask, do you have any other property you need to get rid of? I ask for referrals, essentially. Okay. I have no problem asking for that. But chances are a person that's going to ask a follow up question, how did you get my number? They're probably not too happy with you already. So they're probably angry. So if somebody say, "How did you get my number?" I do not, I repeat, I don't feel ever obligated to answer that question. The answer to that question is, "Have a good day." Yeah. Oh, they're going to report you to a cop. Oh, you call my number, you solicit, blah, blah, blah. I don't respond to it. I only respond with, "Have a great day." Have a good day. Have a good day. I said that how many times? 4 times? No, I don't say it that much, by the way. I say it one time and I hang up. Okay. If they're still on the phone, that's what you call OYO, on their own, on your own. They're on the phone by themselves. I don't hang out on the phone with people that are not my prospects. It's that simple. I have too many people in my pipeline. I can't afford to hang out, give a second to people that are not potentially my prospects. Okay, so that's the answer to that. No, I do not want to sell my house. So how did you get my number? Have a good day. Just hang up. Don't convince yourself that they maybe you could convince them to give you a house. No, there's too many process between a lead and a deal. You can't afford to waste time on shenanigans and trying to figure out if you can convert somebody to become a prospect when they're not really a prospect. They need to be a prospect first, and then you follow through due process until you close a deal. All right. So don't set yourself up for failure. All right. So that's all I have for you on today. Hopefully, you've been enlightened and educated. Go get the book Smart Real Estate Wholesaling. Just go to smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Don't miss out. You can get the audiobook for free if you get the free trial of my favorite audiobook platform in the world, audible.com. But it's available. This is a book you need to read so you can learn how to fill your pipeline with leads that are coming in every single day. All right. Hopefully, you've been entertained and enlightened. I will see you in the next one. Peace.